again, for those of you who just jumped on the call, my name is Ross Logan. I'm the Director of Technical Support with iDENTYTECH Solutions. And really what I want to go through today is our Secure 9000 integration driver, which allows really, seamless and efficient enrollment of biometrics, right within the Secure 9000 application, as well as using our, facial recognition, again, also, seamlessly integrated into Secure 9000. So if you know how to use Secure 9000 today, you're going to know exactly how to use our, integration driver and services tomorrow.
So one point really quick. So this is a new install. So we currently have CanTech on site there, and we're looking to move to Secure 9000 just because of the higher level integration that we can achieve.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So what I'll start by is I guess just showing you the Secure 9000. So again, this is where you would have your doors in Secure 9000. So we start up here with iStars. iStars are the controllers that are used for Secure 9000, and the way that our integration works is we use a direct WeGan connection from our devices into the Secure 9000. And I actually will pull up a quick video. Let me see if I can tilt this just a little bit. All right, and so you can see here, I need more USB space. So you can see here in this in the video that I've got on screen, we actually are featuring two devices. On the left over here is my IDT Sapphire. This is a palm vein terminal with a built-in ProxPoint reader. As you can see, it's also got a touch screen here. And then on the right, I've got our IDT Access, which is a multispectral imaging sensor, and it has built-in iClass reader. And as you can see then behind, the wire is leading up. This is the iStar Ultra that we're using today for testing, and those are both wired in via WeGan. Everything else, when you go to actually set up the readers, just as you would normally in Secure 9000 by adding readers, you would go into the reader panel. This is exactly what it looks like within Secure 9000. And what our integration makes use of is the user-defined fields tabs for Secure 9000. This allows us to do two things. Number one, it allows us to build in our own section within the reader tab using, again, the user-defined fields. And this is where you can quickly enter in all of the information related to the reader. So let's say, for example, none of this was here. And let's switch this over so it knows that it's absolutely zero. Save and close. When you're adding one of our readers to the site, or if you're replacing a reader, it's just as easy as going up here and clicking on this button over here that does a network search. It finds all of the iDENTYTECH readers located on your network. You just go ahead and click one, hit choose, and it's going to go ahead and fill out all of this information for you. So it makes it very easy to add or move readers on the property. And just as you might
Ross,
be...
quickly.
Yeah, of course.
Tom and Brian, correct me if I'm wrong. If you want to see all of this portion, by all means, we can continue with it. But Ross, my technicians will be responsible for getting this stuff set up. So I think most of what we are interested in showing the end user now is really like the user interface. So actually adding, removing users, enrolling fingerprints or palms or that kind of thing. Is that kind of what you guys are thinking, Tom?
Yeah, absolutely. At least let's go there first. And then if we have time, I'm definitely curious, and I don't mind at all running through the rest of it, but I definitely want to get that stuff first. So maybe we can just change the order or the priority of what we're looking at.
Of course. I'm certainly happy to. So let's start out by creating a new user. So again, in creating a new user, I'm going to do test. It's not going to let me do the tab bar. Test. I'm going to go over here, add a new credential, just as I would in Secure. Let me see, what spare iClass reader do I have? This is facility code 12, and I've got a card number here, 428. Super. And I'm going to go ahead and add a clearance as I normally would. You know, I've got all of them on a biometric clearance. I'm going to go in and add an image. I'm going to add my my counterpart, Rodrigo. He's going to be helping me with this. He'll be in a minute. And go ahead and adjust that facial recognition. Now I'm going to go to user defined fields. We make use of a different view, extended biometric view. Again, this is the enrollment process. I can choose, there's a number of authentication methods I can choose from single factor to multi-factor. Right now I'm going to set it to a weekend card or biometric. My weekend card format is standard 26-bit. And then I've got, actually, I can pull this up here and show you. Let me pull this off to the screen, and you can see if I pull around the camera, I actually have my enrollment stations right here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on enroll, and you can see it lights up here. Very easy, all within the application. Enroll my finger, and there it is on screen. Very easy to do with the palm as well. So I'm going to click on enroll. And you can see it'll ask me to present my palm twice, present it once, it'll ask me to pull it up, and then present it twice. And you can see very easily already the palm's enrolled. So these palm enrollment station, or these USB enrollment stations, are then connected to your computer for local enrollment within a client. So again, very, very easy to do that. So let me go ahead and click save so I populate which card I can output. And then that's it. So then I'll go ahead and hit save and close over here. As we can see within monitoring, it's went through, it's already updated all of the readers. And then I'm going to go through, let me show you over the camera. This is the card that I just enrolled for Rodrigo, and it's already activated. And you can see admitted, test. If Rodrigo wanted to come over here, I'm sure it'll get him to come over here in a minute, but it uploaded his picture just to show you it working with the facial recognition with mine. I've got it set up so it recognizes my face and then asks for additional authentication. So stand up, it'll show me my face, it'll lock that in. Over here on the right, it's going to ask me for a card. I can go ahead and present, and it's gone ahead and presented, unlocked, and we can see all here in monitoring, facial recognition plus credentials, admitted Russ Logan. So that's the very speedy overview of the software usage and what all that would look like. Again, all integrated into your monitoring station with the journal entries. If for some reason I were to present an incorrect, fob to one of our devices, you're also going to get that pumped out as well to tell you what was happening. If for some reason someone's using an incorrect credential, it'll show that as well. Any questions thus far?
No, not at all.
And
okay.
Russ, something I wanted to confirm there. When you used that facial recognition and then used the card, you were using multi-factor authentication. Is that correct?
Yes. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm even going to step it up from there. So right now in my access level, in my profile, again, a Secure 9000 profile, right now I have it to weekend card or biometric. I'm going to step it up a notch. I'm going to say weekend card and biometric. Go ahead and do save and close. It's going to go ahead and update. You can see how fast it goes through and does that update process. So I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to stand up, and so you can see it's going to recognize my face. Then what it's going to ask me to do is present my finger over here. Once it verifies that's my finger, then it also is going to want my card, and then it will unlock. So you can see you can really step up that flexibility.
Very good.
Can I, this is from Taylor English, can I make a request for a sample test here?
Absolutely.
Could you, if we were to hold up your photo, and or if you maybe, for example, if you just had a photo and did not have the two-factor in place, you just had the one element, would the photo be able to bypass and be recognized without that person? Meaning,
No.
the photo that's scanned in, can you reuse that and get in the door?
No. So are you talking about if you're using facial recognition only?
Yes.
Yeah, so within our facial recognition, we actually have many layers of liveness detection. And so if I go over to my options here, you can kind of briefly see here are the different options. We have it for where the camera focus should be, how many pixels should be included. We even have a liveness filtration. And so we can do it by head and shoulders. You can use infrared cameras to determine this. You can also use the eyes, so you require a blinking of the eyes, and so several things that would make it so that it wouldn't be able to see on a camera. Let me see if I can actually pull up a recent photo of me, and that way I can even show you, here's what it would look like if I just tried to present a photo to the thing.
And I guess my end question is it easily defeatable by having a photo with no other identifier?
Oh,
okay.
Oh no, you should see the cardboard cutouts that we keep around this office just to do all that kind of testing to ensure that absolutely does not happen. No, so that's where our liveness filtration comes in and successfully, cuts out cardboard cutouts and photos and printed photos and digital photos and all of that. So we definitely have that in place.
Okay, thank you.
And so,
other questions or
Tom,
other things you want me to go through?
Brian, do you guys have anything?
Yeah, what are the dimensions of the one that also have the card reader integrated? Looks like it was about the size of your hand, maybe a little larger.
Yeah, a little bit larger. I can't say I have the dimensions offhand. I got right now. I'm really just using hand comparison. Rodrigo,
that's fine. That gives me an idea.
Okay.
And how thick is that unit? Meaning, how far off the wall does it sit?
So we actually do. Yeah, we do have a wall plate as well that will go, recessed into the wall. So it'll probably where my finger is right here is what would be exposed. This would all be inside the wall, this back part.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So Tom, I believe we are looking at something closer to the right hand side device there. So the one on the left hand side that has a biometric reader, a card reader, and also that touch screen. So it's got 3 different forms of authentication there. I think we were only looking at the 2. Is that correct? The biometric and the card reader?
Correct.
Okay.
Different unit. Yeah, and the facial recognition unit is a separate unit altogether, right?
So
right.
actually, I'll let Ross go ahead.
Yeah, so our biometric units, we definitely can sell both our Sapphire and our IDT Access. Those are units that you can purchase. They're listed right now within our Secret 9000 price book with Software House. Our facial recognition package is a bit more complicated because it requires, both the additional software to run the facial recognition on your computer. It requires a great deal of server power, so we would want to sell you a machine with the recommended specs. It would also require, in case you didn't already have one on site, if you didn't have any of our iDENTYTECH devices, it would at minimum require what we call an IDT Octopus. This is our 2-door controller, but for our facial recognition purposes, it would be a 1-door controller, and then this would be hooked up via Weekend to your iStar, and the facial recognition would send in commands over TCP/IP. And so those are kind of the additional components that you would need. You would need a camera. We offer, we recommend Access, but we work with most cameras out in the field about, our recommendations about 5 megapixels. So you would need the Octopus, the camera, our software, and then again, that additional server depending on the number of doors that you would want facial recognition to work with, would increase the amount of RAM and processor cores that you would need to be able to run facial recognition smoothly.
Hey, Ross,
Okay.
if we were going to have one of those, at least one reader on site, do we also need the Octopus?
If that reader is connected to the same door that you're using the facial recognition with, then no. In the cases that I've shown you this morning, the Sapphire here is acting as one door. It's receiving commands from the facial recognition program, same as the IDT Access, and so they're both acting as two different doors in this scenario. So, for example, if you buy the IDT Access and you're using it with facial recognition for that door, you would not need the Octopus for that door because you already have our hardware, and our hardware can take care of that.
Understood. So for each door that we don't have a reader on, we will need an Octopus unit.
Correct. Yes.
Got
it. Okay. And then when you're using the access unit, do you have to physically touch that unit for it to gain access on the vein reader?
For the IDT Sapphire, no. What we really love is, especially right now, given the current situation, what we really love about our palm vein solution is that you hold your hand about 2 inches away. Let me see if I can show this while also doing it successfully. Might be better from this angle. Okay, so I'm going to hold my hand about 2 inches away, and that's where it's going to pick me up. If I can do it, hold it all steady. And you see it's a really comfortable distance. It's a good, touchless sensor. And so that's why we enjoy this, because it is a no-touch solution. Okay, and then the one on the right, it must be touched. Right. The one on the right is fingerprint. However, with see-through like plastic gloves, because it's a multispectral imager, it will work through the glove. And so that way, when you go to place your finger on it, even if through a glove, it will still recognize, it's actually for two-factor authentication, it will still recognize your finger and be able to process you. Okay, so the one on the right is a fingerprint reader. The one on the left is a vein reader. Yes, palm vein.
But Tom, we still have those in different form factors. So as far as size goes, or as far as features go, you can get the unit on the left without that integrated touchscreen. Is that right, Ross?
Yes, that's correct. It would come in the exact same form factor as the IDT Access, but instead of this fingerprint sensor here, it would feature this palm sensor instead. So exact same size and form factor, same card integrations. You could have iClass or Proxpoint. All of that would still be possible.
Okay, but we would have to, but that would change us from a vein reader for a finger to a palm reader, right?
Right, yeah, so the one, right, so if you wanted to get basically this in this size of package, then yes, the fingerprint sensor would go away and it would be replaced with a palm vein sensor, so it would be for palm. Jade, okay, yes, so for comparison, this is what it would look like. Thank you, Rodrigo. And so you can see it's the exact same form factor, but now we've added on the palm vein sensor in the middle, so it would become a palm vein device. Okay, and so Wes, we really have the option there. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. All right, well, Brian and I can kind of discuss that further, and Wes, you can let us know if there's a cost difference between the two at a later date. Okay. Good to know.
Okay. Do you guys
questions I can answer?
Do you guys have any other questions?
Logan, can you put that other unit back up next to it? I wanted to see that again.
Absolutely. Yeah. We can move the
okay. So
closer.
Perfect. Okay. Yep. That gives me. I just took a picture of those two. Brian and I'll just kind of discuss those and see which ones we would like. Brian, is there anything else you want to see?
So the interface, question with the interface, is this an all-in-one as far as if we had to add somebody to the system, is there anything else program-wise that would need to be done? Because it looked like you just did it all in one swoop.
I did. That's how great it is.
Okay.
We're very tightly integrated. As you could see, there was no other windows you had to open, do biometrics in one window, Secure in another, any kind of syncing. As soon as you hit save and close in the Secure 9000, it automatically runs it out to all the related readers for people who have that credential.
Okay. It's got the Windows look to it.
If we went with the facial recognition, is that a different situation when it comes to video? And I guess a secondary question to that is, does it record video?
No, ours is not recording video. It's only pulling in the live stream for the facial recognition purposes. But of course, because depending on what camera you're using, for example, I'm using an Axis camera. That camera could also be recording to my separate VMS while we're using it for the live stream for facial recognition.
Yeah, and so this may help clear up a little bit as well. So Brian, these, and I didn't know this yesterday when I spoke with Tom, so these units don't actually use, they are not facial recognition devices. So you have to have a third-party camera. So it's either, if you just wanted facial recognition, you would have an actual camera above the door. You wouldn't have the device over to the side. Now, if you wanted both of those, if you wanted facial recognition and biometrics, say palm reader, then you would have both the camera, which is sending an output to your software, and then also the biometric reader, which is also sending that signal to the software.
Yeah, so for us, if we went that route, we would have both, because we already, at the point we'll decide to do facial recognition, we'll already have the readers on the door anyway. So we'd probably make that as an option and keep it there as a plan B if for some reason the facial recognition was not working or offline or couldn't recognize. So,
Sure.
So we can make it, as I saw Logan do earlier, where we can have it use any of the criteria on either one to access for access.
Sure.
Is that correct, Logan? So we could.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that is part of the great
card, vein reader. Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
And so you can see over here in our facial recognition access mode. Right now, it's set to use facial recognition plus the access mode. So of course, you can use facial recognition only, or tell it to not use FR. That's another great part of our system I think I skipped over, is that each person in your system can have their own access mode. So let's say for someone like janitorial staff, or someone for security guards, you may have them at a higher authentication level than you would the next person. So for example, the janitorial staff need to use Weekend Card and biometric, whereas maybe your, executives are just Weekend Card or biometric. They can pick and choose, or Weekend Card only if you really need to label it down. The other great thing about our interface, and let me just go back over here to my hardware tree and pull up my reader. Again, it's very easy. I can go into the reader settings right from the reader tab within Secure 9000. And what I want to show you here is the other way that you can control this. Let's say everyone inside your property, you've allowed the authentication mode of either your Weekend Card or your biometric. But on the outside of the property, you want to be strict for everyone. And so then you can put it from user mode, where it takes from whatever the user's designation is, to unit mode. And so for everyone, regardless of what their user mode is set to, for all these exterior units, you could have it be, very firmly higher authentication. And then on the inside, relax some of your security, protocols if that's what you're looking for. But again, a really robust system that's flexible and efficient, when it comes to the security of your building.
Right. Okay, and now I get to ask you my really dumb question, because I think I know the answer, but the Weekend Cards so we have Prox Card 2s, the HIDs, is that the same thing?
Yeah. So when I say Wiegand card, it's a common phrase we use, inside our company. But I'm talking about Proxpoint. I'm talking about iClass. I'm talking about CIOS. I'm talking about PIB2. I'm talking about MyFair. Whatever card format you are using, then we're provided by we're an OEM for HID, and so we get, if it's an HID
Okay.
type reader, then we've got it integrated.
Okay, awesome. I don't have any further questions, but Brian might.
I've got two questions here. Cantech had options for time entry. We didn't use it, but I'm curious, is that something you guys have integrated in some way? If we were to think about that in the future.
When you say time cards, what do you mean by that?
Scan your card to clock in,
Yeah.
Oh, to revise. So we certainly make use of the everything that gets recorded in our monitoring station. So for example, if someone goes to, present their palm, and then it puts them in, let's use this one instead. If it goes to clock them in, then you're going to get a notification in the monitoring that, so was admitted. And so I imagine that you could pull from the journal for those time entries, but there's nothing else currently within our integration that's going to record it to some sort of separate, time and attendance program.
Hey, Keg, are you on? Let's see, do we have, I was thinking Keg was on here. Uh-oh, nope, he's logged off. Or maybe he's muted.
Yeah, he's muted.
I guess.
Yeah, it looks like Keg is self-muted.
Yep.
And it's fine regarding the time entry. I'm just curious because that's something I've seen. I'm just wanting, if that question were approached or we were asked of it, we could answer yes or no. We can't do it with the system. That's fair.
All right, guys. I've got Keg here from Software House. So he's the Software House expert, and I think he's got an answer for you on the time clock stuff.
Yeah, so this has been a question that's been coming up for 20 years. Are you guys talking about interfacing with an HR system or a timekeeping system, or are you just talking about using the same card to get in two separate systems?
It would be an interface that pipes over to our time and billing system.
Okay, so there's several ways that you can look at this. You can there's an import export tool built into Secure. So if you wanted to take entry times or whatever and have that exported as a CSV file or through an ODBC connection or via XML into a third-party system, then you can do that, and vice versa. We can pull it in the same way. Within Secure, there's actually something that we call a roll call report. Now it's really not a very good report, to be honest with you. What it does is it says if you came in, it looks at your first read and your last read, and it calculates everything in between. So if you came in on Monday and went out at lunch and came back after lunch and left at 5 and did the same thing Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, when you ran that report, it would show you came in on Monday morning at 8 and you left, your last exit was Friday at 5, and it would give you a line item total for how many hours you were on site. And that's just a real simple report inside of Secure. but it doesn't have it doesn't give you the meat. It doesn't give you the meat of all the details. Where this always becomes a challenge is because if you're using the door reads as a reference point, if you're like if you're watching my son, he's always going to be late. Okay, but if you're watching me, I'm getting overtime because I'm always there 30 minutes early, or I might be there 45 minutes early, reading the paper in the break room. So you may not get a real accurate picture. And I'll tell you the other thing. So I've been doing this for about 22 years, and I said, listen, people will forgive you for locking them out of the building, but if you screw up their paycheck, they hate you forever.
Yeah, agreed.
So,
but that's still good information to line up alongside of.
Yeah.
For instance, if we had an employee that said they worked, their job is an on-site job, and they're saying they worked 42 hours, but I ran the report and it's only showing them here for 37 on site. It would be cause for me to look into that further.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. You have to have an in reader and an out reader, though, so to collect that data. You have one specified where they're coming through the door, one where they're going out.
I see.
Yeah. So otherwise, it's free egress, and you won't capture that data. Something else, just on a side note, there's also a free visitor management system that's built into that system. I don't know if you guys are using one, but there is one that's free. And you triggered a thought in my mind, because a lot of people use it for contractors and for doing reconciliation on contractors. Somebody saying, hey, you get billed for 40 hours, and then being able to go back and pull those data logs for that. So.
Okay.
But anyway.
Okay. Well, thank you.
All right.
Any other questions, Brian? Yeah. I think we got one more question.
One more question for you guys. Well, for alerting, is there any, let's say, unauthorized access? Is there anything we can trigger to alert?
Yeah.
Send out email?
Yeah. So here's the thing about this system that you guys probably don't know. This is the same system that secures the executive office of the president, the Smithsonian Institution. And here in Atlanta, it does all the Coca-Cola, it does all the Southern companies. So if you want to rain down terror on somebody, I can launch BOLOs. I can send you an email. I can sound local alarms. I can send you a text message. I can third party it out to a monitoring center. I mean, there's a gazillion things that I can do with this. And it can be as granular as I only want it on Wes. If he gets out of line, if he hits a reader for 2 hours on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So it's extremely granular.
Okay. Good. All right. Thank you.
And of course, I'll add into Keg's comments, because our integration, because all of your biometrics in your face are all tied back to your same Secure profile. That means we're also writing to the journal where Secure is taking this data from to be able to create those audits, those reports, those BOLOs, everything. And again, it's all right within the system. So that means if it comes up, you're setting your hand. So for example, let me say I'm going to do weekend card only, save and close, and I'm going to come over here and let me pull this up. And I'm going to go try to put my finger, actually, let's pull up monitoring and see what's happening in real time. I'm going to put my finger here. It knows my finger is, not supposed to gain access, and then it tells you right in the log, invalid credential, personnel record, Ross Logan, here's the Secure ID on this particular reader, at this time. And so again, all of it's very much integrated for those kind of alerts and audits to be able to happen.
Yeah, one of the real strengths of that product is the integration capabilities. So if we integrate with about 42 different video management systems, so even in your monitoring screen, as someone's using facial recognition, I can have a swipe and show and a live camera view just for verification and validation.
Okay. I'm good. Yep. think we're good on our end.
Okay.
All right, fantastic.
Very good. Well, Tom, I will call you in just a minute. I've got a couple more things I wanted to discuss with you quickly, but Ross, sorry, it sounded like you were going to say something there.
No, I was just going to say, if you guys have any further questions, or about our biometrics or facial recognition, my email address is ross@identytech.com. So please email if you've got any questions, if you think of anything else after this demo.
All right, thank you.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you all so much for your help, and I'm sure we'll have some more questions, so we'll be back in touch shortly.
Y'all have a safe weekend.
You too.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Have a beautiful weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, all right, everybody.
Bye.